head. So he likes trash cans, he likes buckets. So we decided to get that trash can for him and let you guys all have a part in that and send that to Milwaukee with him. We are hoping that we can get some pictures with him with that trash can. We also wanted to just give you guys an update on what's going on. That's kind of an important thing to know. As you all know, he's going to Milwaukee, and the big question is, well, how is he getting to Milwaukee? What we are going to do, Monday is his last day on exhibit, and then we are going to, on Tuesday, anesthetize him and put him into a crate, and then we will use a forklift and get that crate into a refrigerated truck, drive that truck to the airport, and he's actually going to fly FedEx, so he's pretty important there. And yes, very important cargo there. And he's going to fly from here to Memphis and then to Milwaukee, and then kind of do the reverse thing in Milwaukee. He will get into a refrigerated truck there and then ship him, drive him to the zoo from there. We are hoping in our new exhibit, there's a new design where we won't have to anesthetize an animal to get them into the crate. It's going to be just a normal, you have to walk through it every day to go out on exhibit. So when we do transfer bears in and out, we won't have to anesthetize them to get them into a crate. Another common question is, what is the exhibit like in Milwaukee? It's very similar to our exhibit here. It has a lot of rock work and a large pool. There is another bear there. It's a female bear that she's also 26 years old, just like Willy, but we have no idea if they're going to plan to introduce them or not, so stay tuned to that. And then for and the reason he is leaving is because we are going to be expanding this exhibit. We want to make a larger area for the polar bears. It's going to be triple the size of what it is now. It's going to be a lot different. We're going to have a lot of natural substrate. We're going to have gravel and mulch and dirt and grass and big logs and a stream running through it with a shallow pool. So it's going to be really excited. The projected opening date for that is 2013, but you know, we don't have an exact date right now. We're a little delayed in starting, so we're not exactly sure when it's going to be finished. Is there anything else that I missed? No. Jessica is going to talk next. She is going to share some of the stories that were posted on Facebook and also through the zoo school.
Hi there. I'm going to start with a story from Allison on Facebook. Let's see here. It says, I got to hang out with Willy under the stars on my birthday back in March. This was a different event that we had held. I don't have any photos because his keeper said the flash would bother his eyes and the zoo is very, very dark at night. I had the honor of talking to his keepers as well as with Robert Buchanan, who is president and CEO of Polar Bears International. Willy was given his favorite toy and he was so funny. He didn't want to get into the water to get it, so he used his paw to start a current that would bring the toy to him on the rocks. Silly bear. Then he feasted on some lettuce and went for a swim. After that night, polar bears became my favorite animal at the zoo, and Willy has become my favorite bear of all time. I'll miss him, but I know he'll have a nice new home to come back to. Take care, Willy. So that was from Allison. And then Carly on Facebook wrote, we saw him while we were there on a class field trip. He swam right up to the window and put both paws on the glass, had a little yellow leaf in his mouth the whole time tossing it around. He was so beautiful. Candace from Facebook wrote, my son loves Willy. We couldn't see the rest of the zoo because he just wanted to stay and watch Willy play. Thanks, Willy and NC Zoo, for making my son's first zoo trip so memorable. And our last Facebook story is actually from a keeper that used to work with Willy. Her name is Katie, and she wrote, I worked for 4 years at Rocky Coast at the NC Zoo. Willy was one of the first polar bears I had ever worked with. He is such a wonderful animal. He is so laid back and a big sweetheart. He made me smile every day that I was there. I feel so blessed that I was one of the few keepers who had the honor of working with him. I will miss you so much, Willy Bear. I know that you will be happy and well taken care of in Milwaukee, but I can't wait until you come back. Love you, Baby Bear, which is one of the things she liked to call him. And then we have a couple comments from some of the zoo school, well, a teacher and student. They got the opportunity to leave some messages on Willy's windows yesterday afternoon. So Heather says, Silly Willy, I will miss you so much. You're the face and heart of the zoo. So long, but not goodbye, friend. And then the last one, we have Julie, who wrote, Willy, you are the reason I am who I am today. You have inspired me to help the polar bears with Polar Bears International. I will be going to Churchill soon to see some of your friends. I will be learning more about your kind and how you would act if you were in your natural habitat. I am so blessed to have known you in all these past few years. Thank you so much for being incredible and allowing us zoo schoolers to come and see you every day. I have been in love with preventing carbon emissions and learning about the polar bears. I will love you always, Willy. And so thank you all for those comments and sharing these with us. I know everybody has their own little thing that they get from the zoo, and a lot of you here must have had something from Willy that has made a difference in your life or just made you want to come here to tell him goodbye. So we really appreciate you coming out and saying that. And if Dr. Ryan doesn't mind, he's going to say a couple words on Willy's behalf. And by the way, Dr. Ryan has worked with Willy for years and years now, just taking care of him, doing a great job, helping us out to take better care of him every day. So, again, maybe another round of applause for him.
Thanks. We as veterinary staff have probably worked with Willy way too much, unfortunately, over the years. Willy is a very special bear for a number of reasons, but one of them is because of all the health issues that he does have. And a lot of these we think probably stem from his early years in life, which some of you may or may not know he spent in a circus. So he has a lot of issues that are secondary to that and create a lot of challenges for us. I think we probably had a period of time where, a year period of time where we probably had to anesthetize Willy maybe a dozen, 15 times, 20 times? Anybody keep track? It got to the point where in one of our technicians told me in years past, whenever we had to immobilize a polar bear or do anything with them, that it was a big deal and that we had planned for weeks for it and all that. And she said it got to the point where she'd come into work off her weekend. Oh, we're doing Willy today? All right. And it was pretty much on autopilot on how to deal with him. We had a lot of, as I was asked to say a few words, I really thought, gosh, I don't have anything too cutesy to say about Willy, because a lot of the stuff I was doing with him wasn't very much fun. But he did create a lot of great learning opportunities for veterinary students and residents over the years, myself included. He gave us all a few pretty good adrenal gland squeezes when he would occasionally become a little light under anesthesia and sit up before it was time for him to be done with his procedure and scare everybody pretty good. The one thing I will say about Willy, though, and we get very attached to our animals around here. That animal put up with a lot of bad stuff that happened to him. Sorry. Anyway, he's a spirit unbroken by the indignities of captivity. I'll say that. And he really is he's shown us a lot, and he never gave up. So we're glad that he's where he is now and has the opportunity to go somewhere good and enjoy his time there in Milwaukee instead of having to put up living in his apartment here while his house is remodeled. So we really hope we get to see him back here sometime, and I really appreciate the opportunity to have working with Willy and getting to know him. So thanks.
Thanks, Ryan. So, just real quick, another person that shall not go unnoticed is our polar bear superstar volunteer over here, Arnie. We love Arnie to death. We couldn't do a lot of what we do without Arnie, and he advocates for Willy and wild polar bears on a daily basis out there in front of our exhibit. So let's give Arnie another round of applause. So, as you can see, we all get pretty emotional about thinking about Willy leaving. But as it's a little bit of tears of sadness, but it's also tears of joy. We're really excited that zoos within AZA can work together and provide these animals with good homes when we work to expand their exhibits and provide them with better living conditions. So we're really happy that we've provided a network of polar bear keepers, polar bear Arctic ambassadors in order to really provide these guys with a good home. We've been an Arctic Ambassador Center since 2009 with Polar Bears International, and so we make a constant effort to help our community reduce carbon emissions and also, work to really create that connection between Willy in order to advocate for wild species. So without further ado, we're going to demonstrate our commitment towards being an Arctic Ambassador Center while Willy's away, and we're going to head down to the polar bear exhibit. We're going to make a quick stop and plant a tree in Willy's name. We've got a plaque for everybody to check out, and let's go have some fun.